Hey everyone, it is that house guy Nathan Graham with eXp Realty. Hey, welcome to Market Monday. It is February 12th. Look at that, I had to check the date. And we're going to go through some quick stats. I'm going to try and make these a little bit shorter for everybody based off popular demand. If you can, though, for me, please, if you're seeing this on YouTube or if you click the link, like and subscribe to my page. I'd love to keep you updated with longer videos, and that's where they're going to be. I'm going to try to keep them shorter in these emails. Okay, let's dive right into it. So a little bit behind in the sense of you'll see realtors post stats left, right, and center. I just wanted to talk about them. So the January stats ended up coming out, which is absolutely fantastic. Excuse me. So this is a very quick, this is our market watch. We get this as realtors. It's got to be like 27 pages. No, we're not going to go through all that. But what I do want to go through is let's talk about it. So home sales were up in January 2024 compared to 2023. We're going to go take a look at that. The annual increase came as some buyers started to benefit from lower borrowing costs and fixed rate mortgage products. So when we talk about the rates going up, usually people are referring to the variable whenever we're talking about the next Bank of Canada increase. We don't really take a look at the fixed in most of the world. That's not what the news talks about. That is what we talk about here, though, right? And we're going to talk a bit about that as well. So we are seeing a positive start to the year. Inflation, let's see, the Bank of Canada expects the rate of inflation to recede as we move through the year, which is fantastic, which supports lower interest rates, moving back to the market, blah, blah, blah. And the report saw extra sales. So let's dive into what those sales look like, and bear with me as I use new technology here. Whoops. Gotta love always a big oops when it comes to that. Okay, we're going to share my other screen and we're going to talk about Durham region. Okay, so these stats are a little confusing. I know, but whatever, it's how I do things. So more importantly, in Durham region, there was 539 sales as a whole. The average sale price was just under 900,000, 828 brand new listings, and we have 1.6 months worth of inventory. On average, they're selling for 99% of list. Now, this is the month-to-month stats. Last week, we went through week-to-week. So it kind of shows you that we had a very strong last week of January into February, and that's not to be ignored. That's a very strong time. So we expect these numbers to increase over February. But more importantly, that is a 15% increase in new sales over December and a 36% increase in sales over last January. And I don't know if you remember last January. Last January started to get hot. So we're kind of expecting the same thing. Average sale price didn't budge much. We're up 4% over December. And we actually didn't budge an average sale price over last year, in January of last year. New listings, though, new listings are up 75% over last month, over December, but we're down 6% since last year. So as we begin to see a hot market, we're actually listing less homes now with an increase of sales. So we saw a 6% decrease in new listings, which is not good for buyers in the long run. Yet we saw a 36% increase in sales. And that gets us to the months of inventory. We have a little bit more than we did last year. Yet if these numbers keep holding strong, that's going to eat into that right away. Okay, so that's some quick numbers in Durham. Let's go through it. Oshawa, and these are completely out of order, by the way, but Oshawa, again, very similarly, we saw a 50% increase in sales over last year with a 12% increase of new inventory. That bodes well for sellers. That basically means we're eating away through that inventory again. The average sale price, by the way, is up 8% over December, up 1% over last year. Clarington, again, 24% increase in sales over last year, 18% in new listings. Now, just so you know, as you see this, you'll see kind of like where it says 130%, 2% of new listing. That's over last month. Those numbers are going to be a little bit skewed because in December, we usually take a whole lot of homes off the market for Christmas and then they come back on. So it's kind of like we're removing them from the market and then replenishing them. And so that's why we see that number skewed a little bit more. So Clarington, again, we're seeing a strong market month to month, and we're also seeing a year-to-year increase. Not big increases year-to-year, but we're still seeing it. Whitby, this is very notable for Whitby because Whitby has always stayed strong. So the average sale price is up 10% from last month, and it was actually even up higher in this last week, like when we looked at the week before in the last video. And this has to do with it here, the supply and demand, people. 40% increase in sales over last year, with a 3% increase in new listings. We are going to eat away that inventory very quickly. This is what's creating multiple offers. Scugog, again, Scugog is relatively boring. So we're not going to spend a lot of time in it, but pretty much we're seeing Scugog always sounding around $1 million. New listings actually outpace sales, but Scugog is kind of a lifestyle choice. That's what I love about Scugog. Oh, where's my video here? Uxbridge. Again, Uxbridge is, I love it. It's all ritzy and stuff. Again, we're just seeing a very stable market. We don't see a lot of change of what goes on. One thing I will show you just quickly in the list to sell ratio, if you are looking at Uxbridge and surrounding area, we are selling under asking, but historically we've sold for more under asking. And that's just because it's a slower area. You have a lot of higher end homes out of the city. It's a very particular place to move. Ajax. Okay. So Ajax, we've seen an increase of sales and a decrease of new listings. So Ajax, this tells me, is primed to boom. That's a big thing. So new listings are down 18%, but new sales are up 34%. That's a pretty big gap. Excuse some of the typos there with the dollar sign instead of a percent sign. The reality is right now we're selling for 100% a list, where before we're selling for less. And I'm going to flip all the way back because these are out of order to Pickering. And Pickering, again, we're seeing something very similar of what's going on with sale price as Ajax. But again, we've heard this like a broken record. Sales are up 27%, almost 30% since last year. And new listings are at 7%. We are up 7% over last year. Yet that's not overtaking the sales. And again, that's going to eat away at that inventory, supply and demand. Okay, I don't know what happens if I close that down. All right, so that just gives you an idea of what the market looks like that is going on. If you want to stop the video here, absolutely cool. I do want to geek out on one more thing. Just bear with me as I get it up. But there is a news article, and this is going to pertain to what our future looks like. If I can just very quickly find it here. I apologize, it's not ready. Yeah, this was it. Okay, so for those who may know or those who may not know, whoops, remove that, sorry. We had a jobs report come out, and the jobs report came out with higher than expected job production. Okay, so this prediction through post haste. Okay, so originally we were looking at rates dropping in March. Then the Bank of Canada said June, but the market was kind of betting on April. With the unexpected strong job creation, they're now kind of pushing that back to June as an expectation of the market. Not every analyst, but a lot of the analysts. So we are beginning to kind of see what goes on. Now, what does this mean? It just means the craziness is delayed. I'm kind of okay with that. As you can see, if we go month over month, we're still seeing market gains. We're still seeing average increase in prices, in some cases up to 7 and 10% in some areas. And I expect that to keep happening. Like, so last year, when we talk about going in from this year, from last year we came into the market knowing that we were going to probably see more interest rate hikes, which that dramatically slowed everything down for future potential buying, especially after June when that interest rate hike happened. That was July 1st. It was a crazy turnaround time. What we are seeing this year, though, is a whole different mindset going into the year. We're not expecting price increases. We're actually expecting decreases. It's just a matter of when. So what we are beginning to see is people start buying into the market. And right now, the interest rate is at about 5%. Where are we here? Let me continue the story. So the current rate is at 5%, yet originally some of the banks, CIBC and Desjardins, were expecting it to go down to 3.5% by the end of the year. Now they're predicting 3.75. The point that I want to get at is it's going down. Now, as it goes down, we kind of looked at this number once upon a time. And I want to revisit what this number looks like because I think this is very important for buyers. So let me share this, this screen here. Okay, so when we look at, say, 4.84 to 5.09, we're looking at under $100 a month difference in a payment on a $400,000 purchase price. I know that's not really realistic these days, but whatever, we'll deal with that another time. Regardless, what I want to point out here is a 1% decrease in interest rates might mean you save $150 to $200 a month on a mortgage, which means at the end of the year, you save roughly $2,400 on the mortgage payments and your cost of living. The thing is, though, as we see those rates decrease, it's going to stimulate our market, which will cause homes to increase in value. And it's going to increase a lot more than $2,400. So what a big mistake you could be making, and this is, I've been saying this like a broken record again for a few months, but buyers, now is the time to get out and lock in. That extra $200 a month is not going to matter in the scheme of 1, 2 to 5 years. You might save $2,400, but you're now spending an extra $100,000 on a house. And I hope that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, let's reconnect back to it over a coffee or something like that. Okay. Long story short, why is this not working for me? Oh, I know why. That's funny. Long story short, market is going good. Everything is going strong. We got to see the numbers. We're seeing a general increase, especially year over year and month over month. I am expecting, with the job forecast that came out, or the job creation that came out, we are expecting it to still steadily go up. We are still increasing in price, yet we're not going to increase as fast as I would say I initially thought, but that doesn't mean we're not going to increase. Do not take that as a don't act sort of conversation. That just means that the boom is being delayed by like a month or two. The big one that we could potentially foresee coming when we start to see interest rates drop. Until then, I would highly get into the market now, because again, when a home goes up 10%, that's roughly 8 to 10 grand, if not more, depending on where the home is located. That's a lot more than what you're going to save in that 1% interest rate. So keep that in mind. All right, everybody, keep an eye on other stats. I'm going to do a quick rent to own video coming out to explain that process. I'll add it in the newsletter. Check it out. But in the meantime, like and sub. Chat with you all soon.